Okay. So we're looking at Romans chapter 4, continuing our study in Romans chapter 4. Before we do that, I want to quickly, I'm not going to go into as many verses as we did in the first part, but I just want to show one verse here that's very important for these last days for us, that relates to what we're looking at here in Romans, not just this chapter, but in chapters going forward. In Jeremiah chapter 23. Jeremiah chapter 23. Jeremiah chapter 23. Notice what it says. Jeremiah chapter 23. And we praise the Most High that all of the Hebrew prophets actually speak with one voice with regard to the truth. And so we praise him that you can always get 2 or 3 witnesses with regard to the truth of the Most High from his word, because all of the Hebrew prophets speak from the same Spirit of the Father. And so let's look at Jeremiah chapter 23. Jeremiah 23. We're going to begin at verse 1. And we're going to read a little bit further down, but I want to read from verse 1 down to from verse 1 and start off down to verse 4. Notice what it says, and we'll continue after that for a little bit. Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 1 to 4. Woe, excuse me, woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith Yahweh. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh Most High of Israel against the pastors that feed my people. Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings, saith Yahweh. And I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries whither I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, saith Yahweh. Now, brothers and sisters, he said, to the sheep of my pasture, his true people, the Israelite nation, has been scattered. The bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob has been physically scattered. We know that. We're a scattered people. Okay, okay. So that's why when we're talking about, for example, we talk about feasts, keeping feasts, right? The Most High does want his people to keep feasts, but you cannot keep feasts in our present condition. You cannot keep a feast unto the Most High in your enemy's land. If you recall, even when we were in Egypt, he told Pharaoh, let my people go that they may go into the wilderness and keep what? Keep a feast unto me. You cannot keep feasts in your enemy's land. Testing 1, 2, 3. Do you understand? You need a feast is a celebration. A feast is a celebration of you being free in the Most High. You being free. You have your own land, your own situation, your own nation. Well, we don't have that. We're scattered. We're scattered in our enemy's land right now. So while there are feasts to keep, while there is the 3 feasts a year that still exist, we cannot keep it in our enemy's land. Not only that, we are not in the New Jerusalem. The Jerusalem that we used to be in was ruined in 70 AD. The Ark of the Covenant has been lost, and the Most High has an ark, the original Ark of the Covenant, in the heavenly, the third heaven. He has it there with the New Jerusalem, which he's going to bring back to the land and back to the earth. But right now, it's in the third heaven, so we don't have access to it except by faith in the righteousness and spirit of the Father. Therefore, we cannot keep feasts in our enemy's land. I tried to explain that to brothers and they don't get it, but that's the truth about it. Now, people can try to keep feasts. They can try to do certain events in America. They do it. They have different feasts for trumpets and for weeks, feasts of weeks and all that. But you're not really keeping the feast of the Bible. You're keeping a form of it. Almost like a person that tries to keep the day, the Feast of Tabernacles on the 8th day of the 8th month. Right? Like they tried to do, like the Northern Kingdom tried to keep the Feast of Tabernacles in the 8th month instead of the 7th month. And that was abominable to the Most High because he did not command them to do that. But now we're in our enemy's land. And while you can try to keep a feast or a type of feast, understand that you're only doing it in type. You're not doing the real thing. You cannot do the real thing unless we're in the land, in the Jerusalem, with the Ark of the Covenant present. Everybody understand that? And people try to spiritualize it away. Well, now the kingdom is in our hearts. And because the kingdom is in our hearts, we can... No, his commands do not change. If you know anything about the Most High, his commands do not change. He does not change. If he says the 15th day of the 7th month, guess what? It's the 15th day of the 7th month. And if he said in the place that he shall choose, guess what? It's the place he shall choose. Period. Okay? So here we are in our scattered state. And in our scattered state, we are being further scattered by false religion. The pastors, he said, woe to the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture. Let me just explain this to you. Brothers and sisters, you want to know who these pastors are? All you got to do is understand who is preaching to the Israelite people, the bloodline people of Abraham. Who's confusing them? Who's bringing them into false doctrine? Who's bringing them into false churches? Who's bringing them to false gods that they have not known nor have their fathers known? Who's causing them to worship the wood of a cross and the stone of Islam? Who's causing them to do that? Then you'll know who these false pastors are. That's all you need to know. Who's causing them to go in these directions? He said they scattered the sheep of my pasture. That's his chosen people. So you got Christianity, you got Islam, and even you got some Hebrews trying to go to Judaism. Okay? But that's who's scattering. Mostly is Christianity. I think we can all agree mostly is Christianity scattering the sheep of my pasture. They're not bringing the truth. But he says, I will gather the remnant. Remnant means what's left. I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries whither I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful. And I will set up shepherds over them. So what that means? So brothers and sisters, who's calling the true Israelites? What type of people are causing the true Israelites to come back to the word, to come back to the spirit of the Father's righteousness? Who is doing that? Who's bringing them away from these churches, away from these false religions? Who's bringing them away from that and bringing them to Messiah so that Messiah can bring them to the Father? Who's doing that? Not that many, but there are people doing it. Most High says there would be, and there are. Not that many, though. It's a remnant of my flock, he said. A remnant. What's left? What's left? That will obey his commandments and have the faith of Jesus and the spirit of prophecy. Faith of Jesus, I'm using that word purposely. Faith of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy, is the righteousness of the Father. That's the faith, the righteousness of the Father. It is the spirit of righteousness that you can only get from the one true God of the Israelite nation of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the one true God. And he's setting up shepherds. And brothers and sisters, these shepherds are going to exist in the form of the 144,000, which are now being developed and being prepared to receive the seal of righteousness from the Father. He said, seal the law among my disciples. That's what's going on. For the law of the Most High is equal to the Spirit of the Most High, is equal to Messiah of the Most High, is the Word of the Most High, is with the Most High himself. All of these together, they're together. They all 100% agree. None of them disagree. None of them contradict each other. The Word does not contradict the Messiah. The law does not contradict the Father. They all are one. They all go together. They're in perfect harmony. And yet all of these religions try to act like they're different, they're separate, that they contradict each other. That is a lie from the pit of hell. Let's continue. Jeremiah chapter 23. Jeremiah chapter 23. Let's go from verse 5 and verse 6. From verse 5 and 6. Jeremiah 23, 5 and 6. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is his name whereby he shall be called, Yahweh, our righteousness. So now this is the righteous branch of David that shall be raised up. That shall be representation of Yahweh, our righteousness. That is none other than Messiah. This is representing Messiah. Messiah brings justification by righteousness. He is the representation of the Father's righteousness. He is the righteous branch of David that shall reign and prosper and execute judgment and justice on the earth. It is in him that we will dwell safely, and his name is Yahweh's righteousness. Praise the Most High Yah. Yahweh's righteousness. Notice the last two verses we're going to read from this chapter. Verse 7 and 8. Jeremiah chapter 23. I'm going to start at verse 6 again and go verse 6, 7, and 8. Jeremiah 23, 6, 7, and 8. Notice what it says. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is his name whereby he shall be called, Yahweh Asadak. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that they shall no more say, Yahweh liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Mizraim. But Yahweh liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel, out of the north country, and from all the countries whither I had driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. Oh yes, brothers and sisters, yes, we celebrate Passover, and we will celebrate Passover as deliverance from Egyptian bondage, from the Mizraim. But he said the day's going to come when you're no more going to say that, but you're going to celebrate Passover as deliverance from all the countries of the sons of Japhet. From all the countries we have been scattered, and we've been brought back into our own land by the same blood of the same Lamb. Praise the Most High Yah. By the same blood of the same Lamb. Praise Yah. Which brought up and which led the seed, that's us, the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all countries where I had driven them. The north countries, the sons of Japhet, Babylonian system, the Edomites, that's the north country. And they represent the power of this earth right now. They're controlling everything under Asatan and under their Caucasian pastor, who they call Holy Father, who is the Catholic Pope. That's their Caucasian pastor. The Catholic Pope, that's their pastor. And he is leading the sons of Japhet, and he is over the whole earth, and he's treading it down and subdued it. But the Most High is about to deliver his people from under the man's hand. He's about to deliver his people through righteousness, through the righteous Messiah, the real one, that's going to come on a white horse, that's going to come with his sword drawn, who they don't want to see. He about to show up and bring the noise. Praise the Most High Yah. Now, he is called Yahweh, our righteousness. And now we go back to Romans chapter 4, because it is through Yahweh, our righteousness, that representative, that we are as Israelites to bring that message to the heathen, that they may understand how they are to be saved, by what means, how they are to receive power. You see, brothers and sisters, the truth of the matter is the heathen cannot receive power from the Most High the way we receive it. They can, like we talked about in our last session, they can receive a temporary power. Why is it temporary? Because they're surrounded by falsehood. So they receive this power because of the sincerity of their hearts and wanted to be born again. They receive this power sometimes, and something does happen to them, and they want to serve, but then they're surrounded by falsehood, and the seed is choked. Remember Messiah said sometimes the seed lands in good ground, but it's choked. It's choked by thorns. It's choked by tares. And the seed is choked and it doesn't last. They can only receive power at best temporarily. At best, Christianity and Islam see through a glass darkly. They're not seeing the whole clear picture the way the Israelite nation is ordained to see it. Ordained to receive it and to give it. Praise the Most High Yah. There's but one true people. And they have the Savior, Yahweh, our righteousness. And today in Romans chapter 4, the apostle is writing this letter, and he's trying to explain to both the Jews, or the Hebrews, and the Gentiles, that righteousness is available for all of them, whether they be circumcised or not. It's available. That power of the Spirit is available to cause you to be declared innocent through Messiah. Let's look at it. Romans chapter 4. Romans chapter 4. We're going to start at verse 5 where we stopped, from verse 5 and go down to verse 10. Romans chapter 4, from verse 5 to 10. But to him that worketh not, but believeth on him that justifieth the ungodly, his faith is counted for righteousness. Even as David also describeth the blessedness of the man unto whom Yahweh imputeth righteousness without works, saying, Blessed are they whose iniquities are forgiven, whose sins are covered. Blessed is the man to whom Yahweh will not impute sin. Cometh this blessedness then upon circumcision only, or upon uncircumcision also? For we say that faith was reckoned unto Abraham for righteousness. Let's stop right here. So this is a critical question, because as we saw yesterday, as we were studying, Cornelius was uncircumcised. He was an uncircumcised Gentile that wanted to serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. What would he have to do? And so he was earnestly seeking the Most High, earnestly doing all that he could to show that he wanted to be obedient to the Most High, so that the Most High sent an angel to him and said, your prayers have come up for a memorial before the Israelite God. Yah, go send for Kaffa. This is where he lives. Go send for him, and he's going to tell you what you need to know. So the man immediately sends for Kaffa. Kaffa comes with a crew. He doesn't come alone. He comes with a crew, with the 3 men that Cornelius sent. And he begins to open his mouth, and he said, Yah has showed me not to call any man common or unclean. And then he goes forth and he speaks of the Israelite Messiah, and how the Israelites rejected him, and how he was raised from the dead. And as he himself is a witness of his raising from the dead, because he said, I ate with him. After he was raised from the dead, I ate with him. We are eyewitnesses. And that power of his witness of righteousness caused that man Cornelius and everybody in his house to receive the promise of the Father's Spirit of righteousness that came upon them. So that Peter said, he declared himself, what does hinder? Where's the what? We just need water. We got to baptize these people in the name of the Messiah. And then they understood that the spirit of justification by righteousness was to be given also to Gentiles. It was to be given to Gentiles from them. Has not changed. That has not changed. When you scattered and you enslaved the Hebrews, what you are doing is bringing darkness of the spirit upon the world. That's what you're doing. You're bringing darkness of the spirit upon the world, because now you can't get the truth, because you dumb them down. You make them like animals. You try to kill them, especially their males. You cannot get the spirit of truth. You cannot. I know people don't want to hear this, but that is the truth of the matter. That's why, brothers and sisters, there's darkness and there's confusion and there's false spirit, false religion all over the earth. As the Hebrews go, so go the world. And now this awakening is being taken place right now, as it says in the word, as we read this morning, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither Yahweh thy Most High hath scattered thee, and shalt return unto Yahweh thy Most High, and shalt obey his voice with all thy heart, thou and thy seed. That's what's going on right now. That is happening right now. And the heathen are either they're in different forms of fear. Some of the heathen in different forms of fear. Why? Because they know what they did to us. They know what their fathers have done to us. You see, brothers and sisters, that's why whenever a Caucasian man says, and you all have heard them say this, I've never enslaved anybody. My family earned everything we have. How come they can't do the same thing? Our family came over here on boats and we worked from the ground up and we own businesses. How come they can't do the same thing? You've heard them say this, right? You've heard them say this. Yes, you've heard them say this. Why is this not only a cop-out, but it's false? Because everything they're standing on, every stitch of ground they got, every dollar they got in their bank has come on our backs, in the backs of our fathers. That's why. That's why. Every stick they buy, every house they own, anything they obtain in this country has come at our expense. Everything. Everything. All the riches of this land has come on our backs. Our fathers built it and paid for it. Now, they can sit there and try to deny it if they want to. It's not going to change the truth about it. It's not going to change what's written in the annals of the kingdom. It's not going to change what's written in the books of heaven. And we know the Bible says the books were opened. They that have done good, who's written in the book of life, will have everlasting life. They that have done evil to the resurrection of damnation. It's written. In thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed. They chose the blessing of temporary material wealth. And so they used us to obtain it. Okay, that's what they wanted. That's what they got. The people that want the truth want the blessing of eternal spirit. You cannot have both. You cannot. You can't have stacks of dead presidents and the eternal spirit of the Father at the same time. You cannot. You cannot be prosperous in Europeans' kingdom and be prosperous in Yah's at the same time. You cannot. Why? Because they are two different spirits. So they used us to obtain material wealth in Babylonian style kingdom. All right, enjoy it. This is their heaven. Enjoy it. Because every stick you got, every dollar you save, all the wealth you enjoy, all the privilege that they have come on the backs of our fathers. Our fathers' blood spilled for their enjoyment. Their great-granddaddies beat us, raped us, and did everything to us, and that's why they're enjoying what they got. That's why they can come over here from Europe, and right away they citizens. We gotta have special amendments. We gotta have special amendments to become half citizens. They can come over here off the boat from Italy, from Poland, from Germany, and they citizens already. Our people got to sneak across borders, got to starve to death, got to be put in cages for us to be citizens. We got to be marching in the streets and have dogs biting us for us to be even have citizens, be 3/5 of a human being. That's what we got to go through. Why? Because this ain't our land. This is not our kingdom. It's not supposed to be for us. We need to stop fighting with that fight. It's not supposed to be for us. Our kingdom is not of this world. The Messiah said his kingdom not of this world. He represents our Father. He is our brother. You cannot have Babylonian prosperity and the Father's spirit. You cannot. And all the Hebrews out here that are in entertainment, that's where the money that the Hebrews making. The money the Hebrews making in the entertainment industry mostly. Okay? They make entertainment. When I say entertainment, I mean song, dance, rap, acting, basketball, football, track. These are all forms of entertainment. Sports is entertainment. Okay, sports is entertainment. And most of the Hebrews that are making money on that level are making it in the world of entertainment. What we singing, we dancing, we jumping, we hopping, we tackling, we running for them, for their entertainment. And we're getting paid for that. But even that, all the Hebrews, I'm telling all of you right now, your LeBron Jameses, your Michael Jordans, your Tiger Woods, them Negroes, if they want to get to the kingdom, they're going to have to do what Messiah told that rich young ruler. Give up all you have and give to the poor. Oh, I know that's hard because most of them come from poor places. Most of them come out of cesspools and they made it to the level they at. Well, Most High bless them. But if they're going to be around when this thing comes off, they're going to have to give it all up. They're going to have to give it all up because you cannot have that and have the Father's kingdom. You cannot. Yeah, a lot of them come out of very poor situations where mama working 3 jobs just to put a food on the table. They coming out of like the rest of us Hebrews. But they've been chosen to come out of there and they got, maybe they 6'9", 250 pounds, can run fast, jump high and all that. And the heathen say, oh, you're our God. We're going to make you a God. And we're going to give you all this money. We're going to give you all this stuff. Okay, go take it. Because you've been starving all your life. But I want y'all to understand, all you Negroes, you got to, if you want to get into the kingdom, we right now within a decade or so of the kingdom, you're going to have to give all that up eventually. If you want to live, you going to have to give all that up. All these hundreds of millions, all you're getting, okay, enjoy it. But there's going to come a time when you got to give it up. You got to make a choice. Now the heathen, they're not going to give it up. They're not going to give it up. They've been enjoying it for 2,000 years. They're not going to give up nothing. But you who are Hebrews, who understand this truth, There's going to come a day when the Father going to tap you on the shoulder and say, okay, it's time, son. You give all that mess up. It's time. Walk away. It's time. And you're going to have to make that decision. And all your poverty of the past is not going to help you. You're going to have to make your decision. It's coming to that. It's coming to that. And I don't want to be in that position. I myself don't even want to be in that position. And we should pray for some of these brothers that's going to be in that, because they're going to have to make a decision. He said, oh, you want to be in the kingdom? He told the rich young ruler. Okay, give up all you have and give it to the poor and come follow me. He said, man, boy went away sorrowful because he had great possessions. That's the decision all of these athletes and entertainers are going to have to make. That's what they're going to have to make. I don't care if it's Samuel Jackson, if it's Denzel Washington. I don't care if it's Jay-Z and Beyonce and LeBron James. And I don't care who it is. They're going to have to make a decision. The day's going to come when they're going to have to decide between all of the wealth they got in the kingdom. Because we're living at that time when these people are going to be alive when the Messiah returns. They're going to be standing on this earth like us when the Messiah returns. They're going to have to make a decision whether to choose the mark of the beast or to choose the truth of the righteousness of Yah. Which means they're going to have to walk away from all that riches into the wilderness with nothing but the Spirit of the Father. They have to make that decision. So that is why Romans 4 is telling us, whosoever will, who wants to drink of this water? You want to be justified by righteousness, whether you circumcised or not? Come get it. It's here for you. Come get it. But understand what you're giving up. Understand what you're giving up. Understand the cost. You remember what Messiah said, didn't he? He said, count the cost. Count the cost. Moses did it. The Bible says Moses gave up the riches of Egypt. You know Moses was in line to be Pharaoh. Do you know Egypt, Mizraim at that time was the most powerful nation on the planet Earth? And Moses was being trained to be Pharaoh. He was being trained to be Pharaoh. That they understood that he was a descendant of Joseph, whom they named Zaphanath Paneah, which means Savior. They understood this man and they said, okay, we training him to be Pharaoh. He walked away from the riches of Egypt. He walked away from being king and God in a nation to join up with a nation that had nothing but faith in the Messiah. He forsook the riches of Egypt, looking for a different kingdom. That's why Moses is called the song of Moses and the Lamb. Oh yes. Praise the Most High. Romans chapter 4. He said, let's look at this. Romans chapter 4. Let's start again at verse 7 and go down to verse 11. We're taking our time from Romans chapter 4, verses 7 to 11. Saying, blessed are they whose iniquities are forgiven and whose sins are covered. Blessed is the man to whom Yahweh will not impute sin. Cometh this blessedness then upon circumcision only, or upon uncircumcision also? For we say that faith was reckoned unto Abraham for righteousness. How was it then reckoned? When he was in circumcision or in uncircumcision? And then he gives the answer. Not in circumcision, but in uncircumcision. And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith which he had, being yet being uncircumcised, that he might be the father of all them that believe, though they be not circumcised, that righteousness might be imputed unto them also. See, we need to understand, this is deep, brothers and sisters. On a personal level, he promises Abraham, your physical seed is going to be a blessed nation. I'm going to make you a great nation. Your physical seed is going to represent me in righteousness. But not just that, the faith that you shown in trusting in me, that faith is going to be spread abroad from your physical seed so that all the earth will be blessed. And you're going to see people that are not of your seed that come to the same faith of righteousness that you have come from. And Abraham's going to be happy when he sees that. In fact, Messiah said, Abraham saw my day, and when he saw it, he was glad. Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and when he saw it, he was glad. When did he see Messiah's day? When he offered up his only begotten son, Yisha'ak. When he offered up his only begotten son, Yisha'ak, he understood what that meant. Because the father kept repeating to him, because you have not withheld your son, your only son from me, in blessing, I'm going to bless you. I have sworn by myself that I'm going to bless you. And that's why Abraham understood Messiah. Remember, he was going to offer his son for sin. But instead, the Most High said, don't do it. I got a ram caught in the thicket for you. Now you understand what I'm about to do. Now you understand what I'm about to do. And Abraham rejoiced to see Messiah's day, and he saw it, and he was glad. And he saw that, and he received that righteousness while he was yet uncircumcised. So now the Father is telling him, I'm going to bless your seed. Your DNA is going to be blessed. Your DNA is going to be the seed from which represents me. I'm going to establish a nation. I'm going to give them my laws, commandments, and judgments. They're going to represent me on the earth so that all the heathen is going to hear about me through your seed. And then the heathen that's not circumcised, that's not your seed, I'm going to save them too because of your seed. I'm going to save them. And he understood when he went to offer his son. And the angel called unto him out of heaven and said, don't do it, Abraham. Wait a minute, don't do it. Abraham about to cut that boy's throat, understanding that the boy will be resurrected. It was the promised seed that he had been waiting for 30 years. He'd been waiting for the promised seed. He said, no, send Hagar and Ishmael away. What? I got to send my son away? Yes, you need to send him away. Don't worry. I'm going to make him a great nation. I'm going to bless Yishma'Allah. I'm going to bless him, Yishma'Allah. I'm going to bless him because he's your seed. But that's not the promised seed. Promised seed going to come from your sister Sarah. Sarah, I'm going to bless her with your seed. What? Yes. But I'm 99 years old. Yep. I'm going to bless you. I want you to circumcise yourself at 99. I want you to circumcise your 14-year-old son, Yishma'Allah. I want you to circumcise him too. Because now in the circumcision sign, I'm going to bless you. And at age 100, 25 years after he come out of Haran, at the age of 100, he gets the promised seed. 5 years later, the boy is weaned. Now, he's the seed of promise. Praise the Most High Yah. Yisha'ak. And he said, I want you to offer the promised seed. The promised seed. Offer him for a burnt offering on Mount Moriah. So Abraham goes up to Mount Moriah. The boy willingly allowed him. This was no weak little boy. Abraham over 100 years old. The boy said, hey, we got the wood, we got the fire, we got the altar. Where's the lamb for the burnt offering? Abraham said, Yah himself will provide the lamb. The boy understood he was to be the lamb and willingly was going to offer himself. Willingly. Abraham, you ain't read Abraham having to fight with that boy. The boy laid himself down. He said, if I got to be the sacrifice for sin, let it be. And as Abraham was about to cut the boy's throat,